Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. So today we're diving into something pretty big in the AI world.
Yeah.
Have you heard of DeepSeek?
I have, yeah. It's been making waves.
Yeah, they're this Chinese startup that kind of came out of nowhere, and they've got this new AI model. It's called DeepSeek R1, and people are saying it's giving the big guys like GPT-4 and Google's Gemini a real run for their money.
It's pretty wild how fast they've come onto the scene.
It is. We've been digging through articles, tech reports, all the social media buzz, trying to figure out what's going on here.
It's a fascinating story for sure. I mean, even just their background. DeepSeek was founded just last year by this guy, Liang Wenfeng. And get this, his background is in finance.
Not the typical tech whiz kid.
Right, exactly. It's almost like, remember Sam Altman, who started OpenAI? He came from venture capital. So it's like this outsider shaking things up.
They're shaking things up big time.
Yeah.
The thing that's really got everyone talking is how they claim to have built this crazy, powerful AI model R1 for like $5.6 million.
Yeah, that's a tiny fraction of what American companies have been throwing at AI development.
$1 billion budget.
Really makes you think about what it takes to be competitive in AI now. And the timing is interesting, too, with the U.S. trying to restrict China's access to those high-powered AI chips.
DeepSeek's basically saying, hey, we can build world-class AI even with one hand tied behind our back.
Yeah.
And they're not even being secretive about it. They made R1 open source.
Yeah, anyone can use it, build on it. It's a bold move.
Totally. It's like they tossed a grenade into the AI world, and now everyone's ducking for cover and trying to figure out what just happened.
Mm.
You know, even Mark Andreessen.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he compared it to the launch of Sputnik.
Wow. That's
Pretty big statement. Yeah.
when the Soviets launched that first satellite and the U.S. was like, wait a minute.
He's definitely saying DeepSeek's a wake-up call.
A wake-up call for sure.
Yeah.
And it's not just the tech world freaking out. The financial markets are paying attention, too. We've seen stocks for companies like NVIDIA, Meta, Alphabet take a hit since DeepSeek showed up.
Investors are nervous, and you could see why. Oh, yeah, if this model is as good as they say and is cheap to make, it's like the whole AI industry could be turned upside down.
Exactly. Like, imagine powerful AI, not just in the hands of a few giant companies, but available to anyone.
It's a wild thought. But hold on. Not everyone's on board with the hype yet. Some analysts are saying U.S. companies are still ahead in the game.
There's definitely a spectrum of opinions out there. Some experts think the U.S. still has the edge in terms of talent and resources. Like, they're saying the real breakthroughs are still going to come from the U.S.
But even they're admitting DeepSeek is a serious contender.
Oh, yeah. No one's ignoring them at this point.
And then you've got social media where everyone and their dog has an opinion. It's this mix of excitement about the open source thing, but also some healthy skepticism.
It's interesting, though. A lot of the comments are pointing to a frustration with how big tech has been handling AI. Like, people are asking why they've been spending so much money and if they've really delivered on their promises.
There are comments like, did the U.S. tech firms just scam investors out of billions? And then others are praising DeepSeek. Thanks, China, for leading the way. At least someone's making AI open.
It's about more than just the technology. It's about trust. Who do people believe in?
It makes you think about the whole open source AI movement, too. What are the
Yeah.
consequences?
Huge questions, right? Will it unleash a wave of innovation and make AI accessible to everyone? Or are there dangers we need to be thinking about?
Yeah, it's a real Pandora's box situation.
Yeah.
And we're just starting to open it.
That's what makes it so compelling. We're at a crossroads and no one knows which way things will go. I mean, it really feels like a turning point. You know, for the longest time, the AI conversation was all about who's got the deepest pockets, who can build the biggest models. And then DeepSeek comes along and changes the whole game.
Yeah. So where do we go from here? What does this mean for the future of AI? Is this the start of some kind of open source revolution? Will AI become like a commodity that everyone has access to?
I think it's definitely possible. Imagine a world where any developer, any researcher can just grab these powerful AI tools without paying crazy fees or being at the mercy of some big tech company.
That could lead to some serious innovation, especially in places that haven't had access to this stuff before.
Exactly. It could level the playing field.
That's exciting. But you mentioned earlier there are potential downsides to open source AI too. What about the risks? Like, what if someone uses this technology to do bad things?
Oh, that's a valid concern for sure. And it's something the AI community needs to address head on. We need strong ethical guidelines and responsible development practices, whether the AI is open source or proprietary. It's like what happened with the internet. Openness is powerful, but it comes with responsibility.
So how do we balance the benefits of open access with the need for safety and control?
That's the million-dollar question, and it's going to take a global conversation. This isn't just a China or US issue, it affects everyone. The future of AI is going to be shaped by decisions made all over the world.
It feels like we're at a crossroads. DeepSeek's shown us there's another way to do this, a different way to think about AI development. But which path do we choose?
Right. Will DeepSeek inspire a more open, collaborative approach to AI? Or will it cause a backlash with governments and companies trying to clamp down even harder?
There are some strong forces at play. Governments worried about national security, companies worried about their bottom line, and everyday people worried about how AI is going to impact their lives.
And those worries are all understandable. But we got to find a way forward that takes everyone's perspective into account. We can't let fear or greed dictate the future of AI.
So what are the possible scenarios here? What could actually happen?
Well, one possibility is we see an AI arms race between the US and China, each one trying to outdo the other technologically. That's not ideal, but it's definitely on the table.
That would be a real shame. Wouldn't it be better to find a way to cooperate and share knowledge?
Absolutely. A collaborative approach would be way better for scientific progress and global stability, but that takes trust and openness. And that might be tough to achieve in the current climate.
And it's not just about governments, right? Companies are going to play a huge role in shaping the future of AI. Are they going to embrace the open source model or try to cling to their proprietary tech?
Another big question. We've seen some companies like Meta dip their toes into open source AI, but others like Google have been more hesitant. Maybe they're worried about losing their competitive edge or the risks that come with open source.
But if DeepSeek's model is as good as people say, and it's free, why would anyone pay?
Right. The economics of AI development could totally change if open source models become the norm. It would force companies to find new ways to stand out. Maybe focus on specific applications or offer extra services on top of the open source models?
It's like what happened with software in the early days of the internet. Remember, lots of companies thought they could keep their software proprietary. Then open source came along and blew everything up.
Yeah, it's a good analogy. Open source software changed the tech industry forever, and open source AI could do the same.
It's a lot to process. Things are moving so fast. But one thing's for sure. This is a crazy, exciting time to be watching the AI world unfold.
Absolutely. We're seeing a historic shift in how AI is developed and used. And it's impossible to say exactly where it'll lead, but it's going to be a wild ride full of surprises, challenges, and hopefully some incredible breakthroughs.
I mean, it does feel like we're standing on the edge of something huge, like we're at the very beginning of a whole new chapter in the AI story.
And it's a story we're all writing together. The choices we make today, the conversations we have, they all shape what that future looks like.
So let's bring it back to our listeners for a minute. You're probably out there thinking, okay, this DeepSeek thing sounds kind of crazy, but what does it actually mean for me?
That's a good question.
Right.
I think the biggest takeaway here is that the AI world is changing and changing fast. Everything we thought we knew about how AI is developed, who controls it, what's even possible, it's all being turned upside down.
Yeah, and for some people that might be kind of scary. This idea of AI becoming more accessible, more powerful. It's a lot of unknowns.
It is, and it's important to acknowledge those concerns, but I also think we need to see the potential good that can come from this. Like, imagine using AI to tackle the world's biggest problems: climate change, poverty, disease. That's the promise of AI, and that promise gets a lot closer when the technology becomes more available.
That's what gets me excited about this whole DeepSeek thing. It's not just about the tech itself, it's about the doors it opens.
Exactly. And those doors aren't just open for big companies or governments, they're open for everyone. If you're a student, an entrepreneur, an artist, a researcher, you can use AI to do incredible things.
And DeepSeek's push for open source AI could be what really makes that happen.
Yeah.
It empowers people to experiment, to innovate, to create in ways they couldn't before.
It's like giving everyone a set of powerful new tools. What they build with them is up to them. That's where the real excitement is, seeing what people do with this technology, how they use it to change the world.
Okay, so we've talked about the good stuff, but we also need to be real about the challenges. There are going to be some tough questions to answer as AI gets more powerful and more common.
Absolutely. Like, how do we make sure AI is used ethically, responsibly? How do we keep it from being used to hurt people or make existing problems even worse? These are questions we need to be thinking about right now.
And it goes beyond just the tech side of things. We got to consider the social, economic, and political implications too. How's AI going to affect jobs, privacy, democracy? These are huge, complicated issues, and there's no easy answers.
But the fact that we're asking these questions is a good thing. It means people are paying attention. They're thinking about the future of AI, and they want to be a part of shaping it.
And that's what I want to leave our listeners with today. This isn't just a story about technology. It's a story about all of us, about humanity. The future of AI is in our hands.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into DeepSeek and this changing world of AI, I want to encourage you to stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay involved. The choices we make today will determine the world we live in tomorrow.
That's right. Thanks for joining us on this journey. We'll keep exploring these fascinating, complex issues in future episodes. Until then, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep.